We are now officially, as of today, 2 weeks away from the launch of Phase 3. What? Which is insane because I feel like I thought we were going to be in Phase 2 forever, but here we are. And Intrepid is making some very big changes, including the changes that they made last week with their patch notes. Now, some topics are more discussed than others regarding the patch notes, TTK being one of them, and that's cool because this is the time to test it. Phase 3 is right around the corner. We're gonna be here for a long time, so Intrepid is probably gonna take this phase to really lock in and test the things that really need to be worked on before release. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another gear test, another TTK test. That's what it is. All right, man, let's go through these patch notes. Character archetypes and combat. Reworked all equipment and items to follow new stat distribution curves, with a portion always allocated to certain attributes based on slot, thereby raising the stat floor. Also adjusted the distribution and availability of various waterfall stats. This will continue to receive additional rebalancing. Okay, so this was one of the things that a lot of people were confused on, including myself, man. There were a few people's videos, my homie Flanker, my homie Is There No One Else. I had to go check out their videos. I'm like, bro, I'm actually kind of confused. This is gonna be a big thing. I know a lot of people aren't too happy with this right now. I don't think it's a huge thing. I don't think it's a huge thing for the simple fact that we're gonna continue to receive additional rebalancing. I think we'll be fine, to be completely honest with you. I think it's all right. I think when it comes to your more casual players, you're gonna see who really cares about this stuff. And what I mean by that is who's really looking into this, who's really looking into the waterfall stats of X, Y, and Z. Because from what I'm seeing, it's a bit tougher to understand. And that's not always bad. NPCs, consumables, set bonuses, and caravans have also received new updated stat curves. Okay. That could be bad or good depending on how you take it. Address enchanting in-gear quality scaling issues by inflating values by 10 times to give these systems more granularity. Address enchanting and gear quality scaling issues by inflating values by 10 times to give these systems more granularity. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Reduce the power of equipment by better accounting for other sources of player power such as skill trees, enchanting consumables, guilds, and other various systems related bonuses. Dude, honestly, first few points in, I think that, and I've said this continuously, but I think how we played Ashes in Phase 1 and Phase 2, it's gonna be completely different in Phase 3. Right now, I'm not gonna be like it's gonna be a completely different game. I think with the systems and some of these changes that they're doing, sure, it'll feel like that. I think these are some significant changes, to be honest with you. I genuinely do. Reworked base attribute waterfall stats. Reworked base attribute waterfall stat distributions and added additional stats such as critical mitigation, disable resistance, and other defensive stats. All right, tell you what, we'll just go through it and then I'll chat more at the end about it. Adjusted a variety of stats to increase or decrease how certain stats scale based on their range, for example, reducing power scaling. Made diminishing returns properly apply to generic versions of certain stats when combined with their physical or magical counterparts. Offensive and defensive stat pairs have had their baseline values adjusted to even out the benefit provided by each. Rebalance archetype specific stat gain curves. Overall health scaling has been increased, and the health increase on melee archetypes was changed so it will stay more relevant at higher levels. That seems like a W. That's a dub. NPC damage has been adjusted to compensate for increases to character health. I don't think that's a bad thing. Fixed a variety of stat errors and scaling issues. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. We really have to watch this play out. Dude, this is a huge overhaul. I mean, to me at least, this seems like a pretty big overhaul. I think what this is going to come down to is just us really testing everything out. It really just comes down to us playing things, because TTK does take longer, but at the same time, we were dying very quickly before the update. Like, we were dying super quickly before the update. And then on top of that, if the person that was attacking you was geared out, you stood not a chance. You stood not a chance. You should be sitting down. There's no chance that you're standing. So I think that we're gonna have to let it play out. Let's let it play out for a few weeks, for a few months. We know we're going to be in phase 3 for at least a year, right? Let it play out for a while, and I'm telling you, this is going to get touched again. 1000% it's going to get touched again. I wouldn't stress too much. It's going to get changed again. I don't think they're terrible changes. Rogue. We just got the freaking Rogue. This dude better not be getting buff. Stealth activation is now more reliable. Trash. What the heck? Stealth activation observation distance has been reduced from 20 meters to 15 meters. Added a 2-second cast time to stealth. This can be interrupted by direct damage, which will trigger. Man, added a 2-second cast time to stealth. This can be interrupted by direct damage, which will trigger a 3-second cooldown on stealth. Okay. Using dodge and sprint while in stealth applies the noisy debuff. Noisy reduces the rogue's stealth level temporarily, making them easier to detect. Remove instant stealth from Umbral Cloak with advantage. Smoke Bomb has been changed to allow instant stealth with no activation distance. Some of the rogue players that I've talked to, they've been wanting some changes. So we'll see how those changes play out for them. Guards. Further increase guard stealth perception. That's not bad. Nodes and wars. Squalls and node can now level up to a village. Okay, stage 3. The Jenna node can now level up to a village stage 3 and uses a new coastal layout. Okay. Murder Defectors, a new war type, has been added for guild wars. Nice. Sand Squall Desert node wars have been updated to use locations in the zone for territory wars. Buy orders in the Sand Squall Desert have been updated to ask for materials found in the desert. So this is solid. Just getting the nodes to village stage before phase 3, because obviously at some point those stage 3s are going to be at stage 4s because of phase 3. So I think getting everything on the same stage before we move to phase 3 is a huge W. We're getting more content, updates for the nodes and wars. That's a W. Node Siege. Characters will no longer revive in place during periods of server lag. Cool. Channeling objectives should successfully complete during periods of server lag. Okay. Node Siege teleports now are more reliable. Characters must be closer to the capture banner to be able to interact with it. When characters are removed from a Node Siege team, they are now teleported out of the area instead of killed. When characters log in during a Node Siege event, they will be teleported to the nearest respawn shrine instead of being killed if they are not part of the event. Nice. Added additional crowd control protection to the characters channeling the capture banner. Increase the wave respawn timer so the maximum time is 45 seconds. That's solid. I know some of those have been issues, so I'm happy to see that's been updated. Vehicles. Caravel storage. Storage has been added to caravel ships. This functions similar to caravans. Caravel ships should no longer be able to be spawned on land. Cool. And then the Turquoise Sea. NPC enemies have been moved to be where they were intended to be in the Turquoise Sea. Improved lighting in the Turquoise Sea pocket dungeons. Fixed some issues where parts of the landscape would not render at far distances in the Turquoise Sea. Added additional polish and bug fixes in the Turquoise Sea. Nice. So solid patch notes. The biggest changes that we're all tripping on right now is going to be within the character archetypes and combat, because yeah, this is a lot. I think you just have to get in there and play and really feel out the changes. Like I said, I see the difference with TTK for sure. I want to see how it's going to affect the game over time. We know phase 3 is going to bring in some new players. We know the people that just got Rogue, they're loving Rogue, they're playing that out, right? Hoping to get a new influx of players during phase 3 because we're going to have more content. We have the 3 updates coming week after week. Actually, next week we have the update. The week after that is phase 3, and then a week after that is another update, take a week off, and then we get that next update. So for the entire month of May, we're going to be eating, but I think that this is going to be interesting to see over time with the new people coming in. How are they going to see Ashes? With the people that have been playing Ashes, how are they going to feel about it? One thing's for sure, the people that have been playing are going to keep playing. I think they'll just moan about the changes if they don't like them. That's just what happens all the time. I do think a percentage of people, if the changes aren't what they want, will drop off for a bit. So like I said, I'm really interested to see what it does to the player base. I don't think it's the worst thing. It's just kind of like a shock to the system right now. You know what I mean? I think now more than ever, especially since we're going into the last phase of Alpha 2 testing, if you are not a fan of what is happening with these changes, this is where they want that feedback. So I definitely say speak up. But like I said, I think that we have to let it play out for a bit. Let's see what it does to the landscape of the game, and we'll see how it affects it. But besides that, what are your thoughts on the update? And also, are you ready for phase 3? Let your boy know in the comment section below. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.